Hello, Tiny Habit certified coaches. Good to see everybody. Linda, great to see you. Thanks for having me and allowing me to just share with the crew today. Everyone say hello to Linda. All of you know her, of course. I'm just excited to do this session with y'all. Some names I'm already recognizing, so I know that we have some people that I know. Some of you I met in person at Tiny Habits Live this past October in Vegas, and all of you are certified coaches. So get to the next one so we can all hang out. All right. So I'm excited to share here today. So I'm going to just jump right into it. I'll introduce myself a little bit as we go. But if you guys are good to go, just give me a yes. I want to make sure everyone's settled. You're dialed in. You got your notebook. I will also send out a replay of this call. So don't feel like you have to furiously take notes. Okay, everyone, we're getting a lot of yeses. So let's get ready to rumble here. I'm going to start with a short story here. Several years ago, I had a client who was an author, and he was on a flight to go promote his latest book at a conference. He happened to be sitting next to a gentleman on the plane reading his book. What are the odds? And this client of mine felt this is a great opportunity for me to ask one of my readers what they think of my book. And the gentleman reading the book didn't know he was sitting next to the author. So this was like a prime opportunity to hear about what someone said about my client's work. And the gentleman started just hemming and hawing and saying, well, it's about this guy and it's about his relationship with his dad and what he learns from it. And, it's really impactful and deep and it's really good. You just have to read it. And my client was horrified because the pitch for his own book was so bad, he wouldn't have bought it. And what are the odds he's sitting next to a reader who's going to the same conference to see him speak? I share this story right off the bat because my client realized something that I want to share with each and every one of you. My client realized that it was actually his responsibility to help his reader, his customers, his clients talk about the work he did. He wasn't guiding them in that. He was just leaving it to chance. And that's really what today is all about. Many of us are coaches, speakers, facilitators, consultants, trainers, or any mishmash of these thereof. And we'll dig into this a little bit. But today is really all about helping people understand what it is that you actually do, what it is that you want people to say about you. And I'm excited to dive in because I really, first of all, before we even get into all that, I have a huge heart for coaches. My life has been impacted immensely by coaching. My life has been impacted by mentors, by people who can cut through the noise and help me get clarity on how to move forward, who remind me of who I am and who I can become and what I've done and what I'm yet to do. Can I get a yes to anyone else who's felt the same way about coaching and coaches? And you got into coaching probably because you wanted to help people, right? And your life was perhaps impacted by that and you want to give back. And so for me as a marketer, and you guys will get to know me a little bit throughout the rest of the day, I say marketer, but I'm actually really a coach first. I started off that way. And I coach people through marketing because it's one of the best ways that I personally can help the world. We all have our unique skill set. We all have our own abilities and our experiences. But this is what I feel I can add to you so that you can help more people. So here's a quick overview of what we'll cover today. Number one, the 5 stages of business for modern coaches and experts. And I use that word modern intentionally. We're living in a very, very unique time right now. Compared to even a year or two ago, things are very different and they're shifting very quickly. But I like having a bird's eye view of what the whole picture looks like. I like seeing the whole game board, if that makes sense. And then that allows me to see where I am and where I'm going. Okay, so number one, we'll cover the 5 stages of business for modern coaches and experts. A simple mental map to understand what you need to work on next. Sometimes we see all these other folks that are out there and what they've built, and we feel like we have to do it all at once. And that never happens, right? Life doesn't work that way. So I want to actually slow us down. And I know, tongue in cheek, take some tiny steps forward little by little so that we can really create the change in our businesses, in our practices, and in the lives of our clients that we want. And finally, I'm going to do some real practical listicles of the most efficient and focused things you need to market yourself, attract your clients, and to grow. Let's start with the stage of business that you're in. I've known Linda now for many years. We first met pre-COVID, so at least 7 or 8 years at a mastermind in San Diego, and we both had our feet under us, but we were talking a lot together about how we both started up, right? And in the startup stage of your practice and your business, your main goal, your main objective is to validate your product, your offer, and your niche. And if you're taking notes today, that's the key word that I want you to write down: validate. We don't want to just throw things against the wall. I promised you we talk about how to be really efficient and streamlined. And so we want to do a lot of validation if you're in this phase. Now, how do you know that you're in this phase? Well, maybe you can't explain exactly what you do yet and who you do it for. If I were to ask you right now to come onto this call and share a quick synopsis of what you do and you'd struggle with that, then you might be in the startup phase. Perhaps you don't have consistently paying clients yet, or maybe you've yet to land your first client. And if you're in this phase, you're in the right place today. Okay, I'm going to talk about a couple more stages of business, but you're in the right place, right? And so there's no shame here. There's no judgment. We've all been in this phase, starting up and validating our product, our offer, and our niche. The second stage of business, once you have that, is you're really in this ramp up phase. You're making money, but it's sort of up and down. It feels almost random. And sometimes, if you're really honest, you look back and be like, how have I made it so far? Okay. All right. The third stage of business is when you're building up. Okay. Money is coming in, and maybe you have a little bit of consistency. There's some reliability and predictability with your income. You maybe have a couple of contracts a year, or you have ongoing memberships or retainers, and people are starting to talk about you and refer you out to others. So money's coming in, but you're struggling because your business and your practice is just getting too big. Like, it's too much for your two hands to hold. Stage 4 is when you're really scaling up, where you really need systems and processes. And I'm putting this at stage 4 because it's really hard to systemize something when you're just starting up and trying to validate. And you can get really distracted on getting information about your niche, really understanding your clients, really understanding your prospects. But the scale up part is when you have a lot coming in, but you can't take any more, or you don't have systems, so you're spending a lot of excess time doing things that you shouldn't be. Okay. And then, of course, stage 5 is where you're leader up. You have financial freedom, you have time freedom, you're a trusted authority in your space, and you're really able to impact people and work on some different things like collaborations, partnerships, and really focus on heart-centered work. Now, I'm laying out this entire roadmap, and of course, we're going to have folks who are somewhere in between stage maybe 1 and 2, or 2 and 3, or 3 and 4. But by and large, this is a helpful rubric for us to understand where we're all at. So again, in the startup stage, your job is to validate. In the ramp up stage, your job is to make your income predictable. And if you're taking notes, the way that you do that is you focus on a primary marketing channel, one primary marketing channel for now, that reliably brings people to you. And that, number 2, you have a very clear offer that has sold over and over again. That's your job in ramp up. Okay. In number 3, in build up, you have money coming in, but you're the business. And what you really need to do when you're in the build up stage is move from the one-to-one to the one-to-many model. You want to get out of just doing one-on-one work and start teaching classes. And you want to start teaching accelerators and boot camps and maybe in-person workshops or virtual, where you can get more bang for the buck and more impact, right? In stage 4, scale up, your job is to really work yourself out of a job, at least on the administrative side. You need to hire an assistant, a temporary virtual assistant, somebody who can take some of that admin work off your plate. In stage 5 leader up, your job is to really continue building partnerships and collaborations with other peers and colleagues, and even people who are further ahead of you that can just keep putting more life and energy and lead flow and revenue generating opportunities back into the system that you've built. Okay, so I just want to pause there and make sure that we all understand this kind of big picture. Give me a Y in the chat if you're good, if you're understanding where you are. Lisa said this is really helpful. I'm glad. Daniel said I'm 2-ish, between 1 and 2. All right. I want to share next a quick mental map of the way that I see us as coaches, as facilitators. And so for now, I'm just going to lump everybody on our call here under the moniker of coaches, if that's okay. I'll differentiate these a little bit later in a few minutes, but just so I'm not, repeating words over and over again. So let's just look at this simple diagram. And on the left here, okay, you'll see my mouse. I have number of followers, and I'm using that term very, very loosely. What I mean by followers are simply people who know about you and what you do. Simply people who know about you and what you do. And I think all of us can agree it's probably a good thing if more people know about us and know about what we do. And of course, caveat to that, we want to make sure that the right people know about us and about what we do. But I'm just going to lump all that in there for now, right? Number of followers. When I talk about authority, it's how skilled you are as a coach, as an expert, as a facilitator, as a trainer. And my assumption, I think it's correct, is that you guys are probably going to sit over here in the authority sector. You know what you're doing. You've received training. You've certainly been certified through Tiny Habits. Perhaps you have other certifications elsewhere, and you also have the School of Hard Knocks and the School of Life, right? So let's just own it. One thing you'll quickly find out about me is there's no such thing as bragging. Okay, when we're together, there's no such thing as bragging. I want you to own your power. I want you to own your greatness. I want you to own how much work you've invested into yourself and into your craft. So how many of you would say, I am an expert? I am pretty amazing, right? And I've been told. That doesn't mean that you're not humble, right? You can still be humble and really confident. But yeah, let's own this, okay? All right, Steve said expert here. Yes, raise the hands, okay? Yeah, I love this. Okay. All right. So we got no problem here. We've got powerful people. Chances are that if you're an expert, your business clients come to you, you land clients probably by word of mouth. Okay. And there's nothing wrong with landing clients word of mouth. That means you have a good reputation, that people are willing to refer you to others. I'm pretty sure everyone does this here on this call. If you're an expert, you know what you're doing. Even if you're not super famous and you don't have a ton of followers here, we're at this lower part of this axis, chances are people have referred you out for work. Whether it's free, whether it's paid, people are willing to tell others about you. And in my line of work as a marketer in this industry, what I see is a lot of people come to me because they want to go from here, being an expert, to here with an expert with a lot more followers, with a bigger following. And what I call that type of person, because they're an expert at what they do, is I call them a thought leader. And a thought leader will often market themselves or be known for a particular framework. And we here on this call are living proof of this. Tiny Habits is a framework. It might not be a step-by-step. I'm not meaning it that way, but it's something that is codified. So there are a lot of thought leaders who are well known for their frameworks. In my industry, in the marketing industry, there are people like Donald Miller, who's known for the Story Brand Framework, or Jeff Walker, known for the Product Launch Formula Framework or Product Launch Formula. We see people like Dave Ramsey, who's this Financial Peace Framework. Love them or hate them, all these people, and there are others, they have frameworks. So just give me a quick yes in the chat if you understand what I mean by this. I want to make sure that we're clear on this, that there are people who have codified their intelligence, their IP, and they've put it into a book, into a training, into something like that, that can move them from startup, ramp up, build up to scale up and to leader up. Okay, so I'm seeing a ton of yeses. All right. So that begs the question, what's in these other two boxes? Well, I'm not actually even going to address this box because if you're not an expert at something and people don't know who you are, it's kind of a moot point. All of you are experts at what you do. So I won't even cover that. But I want to talk about this weird little box up here on the upper left. Okay, what goes there? What is a person who is well known but doesn't know how to do anything? They're well known, they're kind of famous, but there's no way you would ever want to coach with them. All right. Okay, Virginia nailed it. It's an influencer. Okay, let's just have some fun. If you're an influencer on this call, I'm not trying to dog you or anything like that, but that's the world we live in right now. Now, I do have to hand it to influencers, though. There is something that we can learn from them because they do have businesses. Influencers do make money. And what they do to generate business is they publish content like crazy. If they don't post that Instagram video or that YouTube video, they don't get paid. So they're consistently on their phone in front of a camera publishing content. And there's something that we can learn from this because if you're an expert, but you want to gain a bigger following or be more recognized in your industry, I'm not saying you have to be world famous, but in your industry, among the people that you help, the way to get there is not just going straight through. You have to follow, rather, the path of the influencer. You have to create some content. People have to know who you are, get to like you and spend some time online with you and trust you. One of the things I like to say, I don't have this on the slide right now, but I'm going to write this into the chat. And I hope that this will help you guys reframe things. That marketing isn't about closing a sale. It's about opening a relationship. I like to say that a lot because I want to take this pressure of you feeling like you have to dance for TikTok videos and write a ton of blog posts every single week. And I want to take this off of your plate. And I want to rather reframe it like, hey, let's just build relationships with people. Well, when people are distracted, it takes a little bit more effort to build relationship with them and to build trust with them. But the way that we do that in this day and age, again, modern experts in 2025 and beyond, is that we have to take a page out of the book of the influencer and create some things that allow people, and this is the next really, really important thing, and I'd love for you to write this down, and I'm going to type it in the chat. Allow people to build a relationship with you at their own pace and in their own space. How many of you have either watched a video, read someone's book, seen them speak live in person before you enrolled in a coaching program with them? Nearly all of us have. Because otherwise, how could you know who they are? And maybe you went to a conference and you saw someone speak, and on the way home from that very event, you found out they had a podcast and you listened to a few episodes. Or you started to follow them on social media and you got to go deeper a little bit with them. How many of you have done that? All of us have done this. Some of you told me after we met in Vegas in October that you did that. Hey, it was great seeing you in Las Vegas at the Tiny Habits Live event. I listened to your podcast and I bought your book. And if we're really honest about how we behave, this is what we do. And we should assume that our market is going to do that. So I want to give you this mental map because when I tell you, hey, let's showcase a little bit more of what you know or talk about some of the things that you need from a marketing standpoint, I'm not telling you to create content or to write or to start a podcast for the sake of it. I'm saying that this is just what needs to happen in our day and age. It's just where people hang out. Okay? All right. We've covered this mental map here. And what I'd like to do is go down a little bit further. And I'm going to share a few things from my own journey to give you a real world example of how I navigated going from being an expert to a thought leader. Now, as of this date, I have 2 of my own books published. They're both bestsellers. I have thriving communities built around these 2 books, the intellectual property in these books. I am able to partner with people like Linda and BJ, friends of mine, where my material complements the things that they teach and their material complements the stuff that I teach in my communities. And I didn't get there overnight. I didn't write 2 books in one night and have them out. I didn't grow these communities in a year. I didn't get on stages speaking in my industry a week after I started. I played the long game. And so I want to show you the game, okay? And just zoom out. And Linda will tell you, BJ will tell you, I'm a realist. I'm not one of these sensationalistic people that's going to promise you everything in the moon and tell you that it's really easy. I don't want easy in my life. I just want worth it because I know if it's difficult, that I'll grow. And I think I'm with the right people. I don't do this for a lot of communities. I do this for people who have the same values that I do. I'm going to take you a little bit down memory lane this year. I'm going to celebrate being in business for myself full time for 10 years. I have beat the odds according to the IRS and the Small Business Administration for how long a small business stays in business. Okay, 10 years is a big deal. I didn't start full time right away. I started part time. I started as a side hustle. Some of you may find yourself in that scenario right now. So I'm actually going to start way back in 2013 when I was starting my side hustle. And in 2013, I was so overwhelmed by all the information that was online. I couldn't figure out who to listen to. Some of you probably can resonate with that. And just like, this is crazy. Do I start a YouTube channel? Do I start a podcast? What am I? Do I grow on Instagram? Do I use LinkedIn? This is so frustrating. This is overwhelming. And I read this book by Gary Keller, the real estate mogul, right? Keller Williams. And he had a book out around that time called The One Thing. And I will never forget this quote. In the book, he said, "Success is sequential, not simultaneous." Success is sequential, not simultaneous. You build things one at a time, not all at once. And when I was reading that book, I just moved back to the town that I went to college in. And I kept going back to this restaurant called Noodle Gourmet. It was one of my favorite restaurants when I was in college. It was a Chinese restaurant. It was not healthy at all. And they had a calendar there on the wall of the Chinese Zodiac. I'm Korean, so I don't really totally understand the Chinese Zodiac, but it was like the year of the horse, the year of the cow, the year of the rat, whatever, whatever. And so I would see this image while I was side hustling my business, and I decided to take a page out of the Chinese Zodiac and just focus on building one thing per year and getting really good at it. So for 2013, that was blogging. I wanted to learn how to blog, and I started writing blog posts. And I said, come hell or high water, there will be a blog post that publishes on my site that nobody really reads right now. Every Monday, a blog post will come out. And that was priority number one. I was still working my day job. I was the chief marketing officer of a company here in the New Jersey area. But I stuck with it for a year. And then when 2014 came along, I said, well, I've blogged for a year. This is great. I've heard about this thing called podcasting. I listen to a lot of podcasts. Why don't I try this? And I decided to take the same energy and release a podcast every week. But I didn't stop blogging. And these skills compounded. These skills compounded over time. In 2015, I had garnered somewhat of a small audience because of my consistent blogging and podcasting that I was able to launch my very first mastermind group. A mastermind group is essentially facilitated peer coaching. And I invited people who were listening to my podcast and reading my blog to consider applying for a group I was putting together to mastermind with. And this is the year that I went full time in my business. This mastermind program changed everything financially, with my time, with my energy. And I was able to step away from my job, my 6-figure salary job, full time in 2015. And so here we are, 2025, 10 years later. What I want to point out here, though, is for those 2 years, 2013 and 2014, I did exactly what an influencer does without realizing it. Because we didn't use the term influencer back then. There wasn't really this emphasis on social media. Instagram had only just come out back then, if anyone remembers. Nobody was really podcasting, and certainly there weren't all these people on YouTube. And the crazy thing is, I thought I was late to the game back then. I thought it was really late. So I grew a small audience, and I found that some of them wanted to coach with me, and they wanted to be around me, and they wanted real time interaction. And despite the fact that my business grew this way, if you're taking notes, I don't have this in the slide deck here. I want you to jot this down. Start with services. Start with services. Create content, let people get to know you, and coach them. Facilitate, train them, get on Zoom. This is where your best material is going to come from. It's where your most meaningful takeaways and experiences are going to come from. It's where you're going to make your biggest mistakes that you will grow from. But at least you're growing and you're able to bring money in. You're able to generate cash flow. I didn't start with launching an online course. I started with coaching people through a mastermind. In 2016, I launched my first online course. I did a product launch. Oh my gosh, that was so stressful. But here's the thing. I was now at this 4 years. And I think you guys can see how this is building step by step. And in 2017, I did my first live event. And I filled it out. We sold out. It wasn't a huge event. It was 40 people. But people who had been reading my blog, listening to my podcast now for 4 years, joined my mastermind and bought my course, wanted to come meet me in person. And when Linda and I had talked about Tiny Habits Coaches, I was like, let's do one. Let's do a live event. And guess what? It sold out. So I'm just taking you guys step by step. My business was growing. I'm now in full-time business for myself for 3 years. I've acquired these skills, these experiences, this expertise, not just in coaching and in marketing, but in running my business and growing it. I was becoming an entrepreneur. I was becoming a business person. And then, of course, life hit me in the face, as I'm pretty sure that's happened to all of us, sideswiped me, and my marriage went completely sideways. After 10 years, my wife was like, I don't want to be married anymore. And I'm not going to go into that. We're all good. She's remarried. We're happy in that we're cordial and all that. Right. But 2018 was just, I call the year of survival. Has anyone had one of those years or several years or seasons? Linda's raising her hand. Play that song, I'm a Survivor. Like, I wish we could play that. But yep, we got some. Malika said, yes, indeed. You've been through some stuff. You've got some scars on your neck. You've got some battle wounds, right? We all go through that. But I didn't let it hold me back, and I just kept on going. And because I was in business for myself full-time by this point for several years, and my personal life was upended, I decided I'm going to travel, and I'm going to emphasize speaking. I'm going to go to these different events. And it was during one of those events that I met Linda in San Diego. I'm going to go to these events because I've built up a readership. I can podcast from anywhere. I can run my masterminds on Zoom. I have some courses that I've created. I can host my own live event. And I can now go to the events that the people who spoke at my live event are hosting, and they invited me to speak to their events. And you guys see how this is just all growing, but it took, right now we're looking at 7 years. And of course, then what happened in 2020, another curveball we all went through, this COVID happened. So I decided, let me write my first book. So I just want you guys to see, I'm giving you like the real clean, sanitized version. When you're in it, like you have a lot of doubts and you're staring at the ceiling a lot, wondering what you're doing. But what I really want you guys to see here is that every year was different. Every season was different. It's just like playing on a football team or a basketball team. Every season is slightly different. But I was able to move in and out and ride the wave of where life was taking me, what the market was doing, and what I was working on because I had the fundamentals built. And we're going to cover the fundamentals starting in about 2 minutes. Just take that in point, because a lot of people see someone like Linda or BJ or myself, and they think that we did all of this stuff in a year. And it's simply not true. It's completely inaccurate. It's a lie. Anyone else who tells you that is lying to you. Okay. So in 2021, it was the year of marketing the book. Oh my gosh, that was stressful. My book came out. I had my first six-figure launch based off of my book. We did $150,000 on that launch. It was for a coaching program. In 2022, I finally got all this stuff done, so I decided to open a marketing agency. I have some thoughts on that in a moment. 2023, of course, what happened? ChatGPT came onto the scene, and I was familiarizing myself with AI because I wanted to stay relevant, but I also wanted to help my people navigate this. And this past year, I just spent writing more books, just writing a lot more books. And here we are in 2025. Okay. So I'd love to just pause for a moment here. And I just want you guys to let this sink in. This is me, Mike, a real person. People look at me and think that all of this happened overnight and that I knew what I was doing every step of the way. And that surely wasn't the case. I just kept putting one foot in front of the other. But I now have the life that I have and the business that I had because I just kept at it. So I'd love to hear, is this encouraging you? Is this daunting? Are you like, oh my gosh, this is way too much. I don't got all this time. I don't know if I want to do. I hope that this is helpful because I'm not gonna give you a false version of what it really takes. It's strategy. It's consistent effort. It's getting around other people who are growing and learning. It's continuously being uncomfortable. Okay, so I'm very, very grateful that you guys are saying that this is encouraging because I don't want you to just think that you have to do all the and this is really important. You should not work on all of these things in the next 60 days. You have to pinpoint what it is that you need to work on. Just like I did the year of the Chinese Zodiac, like blog, podcast, mastermind, et cetera, et cetera. Okay. I love it. Somebody wrote into the Q&A, I need an introvert version of this. This may surprise you guys. I'm an introvert. It's actually why I didn't start speaking, if you look at this list, until 2019. I didn't want to be a professional speaker. Linda and I sometimes talk about this offline. I think she's so weird. She loves speaking to new audiences who have never heard her before. I hate doing that. She loves it. I think she just loves being tortured. No, she just loves that energy, right? I don't like that. I want to be with people who already know a little bit about me and I know who those people are learning from, like Linda, and they invite me in. They're like, hey, Mike's a friend. I don't like all that pressure being in front of a new audience. Linda loves the challenge. So I blogged because I was an introvert. I podcasted in the safety of my own living room because I was an introvert. I masterminded with a small group of people on Zoom because I was an introvert. And I created a course because I didn't want to always meet people face to face. Right. So there you go. So any other takeaways here that you guys are seeing? I just want you to see, like, this is, look, I don't plan on quitting anytime soon. I love what I do. And I think you guys do as well. You wouldn't be here if you didn't. You love what you do. Okay. So let's go into this final section and then I'll open it up for questions. And I also want to let you guys know that there's going to be an opportunity for me to work with you. I'm really excited about sharing this with you. This is just for you guys. It's just for Tiny Habits coaches. I want to be upfront about that. There will be an offer, an opportunity, an invitation. But for now, I want to kind of break all this down and make this super practical and talk about going back to that mental map that I share with you. How can you grow your business as a quote unquote thought leader? And I'm going to switch to that term, thought leader, someone who's an expert who has or is building a framework on how you do things and help people achieve an outcome or a transformation. And all the while, you're growing in reputation and expertise with the right people. I'm not saying you're being famous worldwide. If you want that, cool, but you're just wanting to be known by the right people. And that's what I mean by a thought leader. Okay. So, income streams. Let's talk about building your business solely as a thought leader. Number one, you can coach. You're working one on one with people. You're helping them uncover answers and insights. You can speak and get paid to speak. You can consult, which we all know is different than coaching, right? Here in this crew, we know that that's different. Coaching is drawing insights and answers out from the people we're coaching and working with. Consulting is advising. We're laying out strategy. We're telling them what to do. We're showing them the lay of the land. Okay. Number four, you might be training. You're going into a company or a business or an organization and you're leading them through your intellectual property to help them grow in a certain skill set. Number five, you might be facilitating. That's what I do in masterminds. You're not teaching or training per se, but you're the referee, right? You're the one running and hosting the debate, and you're allowing people to workshop with each other, iron sharpening iron, right? Ideating. You're facilitating that. Number six, you can author books. That's a revenue stream. I've written a number of books and I've ghostwritten even more. So there's definitely some merit there on how you can grow your business. And number seven, this is the influencer that we looked at in the mental map, content creation. You can get paid directly by YouTube or TikTok for the amount of people that watch your videos. Okay, so to sum this up, here's how I look at all of this: coaching one-on-one with a client, speaking, paid to speak at events, consulting, it is advising or fixing something, training, you're developing skills, facilitating, you're with a group, authoring, you're writing books, and content creation, you're paid for content. So I want to do a little exercise here with you. Let's get a little bit interactive. Okay. I want you to draw a very, very simple box, or just think through this if you don't have a sheet of paper in front of you. Jot down what you're great at and love doing, what you're good at and you like doing, what you're not good at and don't like doing, and what you're poor at and hate doing. And I've put those 7 things there on the side, and these will change over time. But I want you to fill in the box, and I'm going to give you guys a look at what mine looks like. Some of these are going to be like in the middle between some of these boxes, and what I want you to do is I want you to prioritize whichever one is more unfavorable. So let me give you an example. Here's mine. I think I'm great at and love doing facilitating, consulting, and training. I love running mastermind groups. I love advising business owners and leaders. And I love training. That's why I'm here today. I love training. I love teaching. What am I good at and like doing? Speaking, like once in a while, to house money audiences, not like Linda, to new audiences. But I like it. I don't want to do it all the time, but I like it. And I think I'm pretty good at it. Content creation, I like doing it. I think I'm pretty good at it. I'm not good at or don't like doing. Now, this may surprise some of you. Coaching one-on-one. You're not good at that? I think I'm pretty good at it, but I just don't always like doing it. And writing books, I think I'm good at it. I've written a bunch of best-selling books, but I don't like doing it. So I'm going to put it down in that category. Give me a yes in the chat if you're understanding what I'm saying here. I don't want to be writing a book 24/7 year round. Like, that's a lot of work. There are some people who are like that. They're primarily authors. And poor at and hate doing, I just put TikTok over there, but admin and back end work, anything. So take 2 minutes and just jot this down for yourself. And this is really going to help you focus on what you should be putting your energy towards. Okay. And after you do that, just if any of you want to share in the webinar chat, it would be awesome. I know it'll be a little bit tough to type, but maybe share what you're great at and love doing. And if you don't know yet, you don't have that kind of experience yet, just say so. Visualize it, dream it, imagine it. Okay, Lisa said she loves coaching one-on-one. That's awesome. Catherine asked, which you focus on, which you love or getting better at what you hate? No, I would focus on what you love, Catherine. Let that lead you and draw you. You can always hire out the things that you don't like. Okay, Caesar said, speaking and training, great at and love. Amazing. Awesome. Hooray for clarity. Holly said, I love speaking and writing and facilitating. Pam said, some things I would love if I could get the right support. That's absolutely true. Catherine said, love group Zoom presentations. So Catherine, what I would say there is you probably love training and facilitating. John said coaching and consulting. Wonderful. Betty said coaching and speaking, training. Great. Diana says content creation. Pam says content creation, but it takes forever. That's okay. That's something that can be iterated and improved. Everything we do can be improved. Remember that. You are growing people. None of you mail it in and sit around. All of you are growing people. Christine said one on one coaching and maybe content. Okay. Catherine said, I've had a podcast for 7 years, 380 episodes. First of all, congrats. That's huge. But I'm getting tired of it. Have you ever phased out one of your platforms? So Catherine said earlier, I love group Zoom presentations. No wonder she was able to podcast for 7 years. Are you guys seeing the correlation there? Catherine loves doing group presentations. So a podcast is naturally adjacent to that because she's presenting on her podcast. You're getting tired of it. So would I after 7 years. You're not abnormal for getting tired of it. You might try different variations of it. Maybe you have bring a co-host on, or you do more interviews, or maybe you just need to go be interviewed on other podcasts. But I wouldn't give it up if you've been putting in 7 years. That's something that no one can buy. Okay. All right. Natasha said, I love sharing short stories, so maybe I can turn it into authoring. Yes, absolutely. Daniel said, speaking, coaching, facilitating, and authoring and masterminding. Okay. I guess he loves 5 out of the 7. So that's great. So, Daniel, your job is then to focus on, out of those 5 things, which 1 or 2 is going to bring you the fastest path to the cash flow so that your business can grow. And then you can invest that money into other things that allow you to do the other things. So, Daniel, for example, that right there, I just want to hang on this for a moment. When I'm looking at somebody like Daniel, he says, I love speaking, coaching, facilitating, authoring, and masterminding. We want to find out which of those 5 he can monetize the quickest and the most profitably. And that's what I'll want him to focus on for the next 60 days, 90 days. Because from my experience, authoring a book is one of actually, and please hear me carefully, one of the most distracting, worst projects you can do for your business in your current season. It will be great for you long term. But if you are struggling to get cash in the door and land clients, I don't want you to be writing a book. I want you to be working on those other things that are going to bring in cash flow faster. All of those years that I told you guys when I was writing a book last year, I was just writing more books. I had a down year in my business because I was just really busy writing books. So all of this can be done. It's just how do I deploy my energy and my time, my resources in the proper way? All right, how did that feel, guys? Do you feel like you have a little bit of clarity more than you did 10 minutes ago? Is that helpful? Would it help to talk to somebody about this and map this? Yes. Okay, so I'll tell you how we can talk to each other in a few minutes, okay? But now I want to take all these 7 things and break them down into very practical things that I feel and believe that you need in order to market that particular lane. Okay, these 7 things here, the coaching, speaking, consulting, whatever you had number 1 and 2 on your list, I want you to pay special attention to what I'm about to share because I'm going to tell you how to do it. And I'm going to use these 7 and also provide some bonus opportunities for you to make extra money while you focus on the things that you're great at and you love doing. Okay, let's start with coaching because most of you said coaching. And with coaching, strictly speaking, from a very minimum viable product standpoint, super efficient, super streamlined. I don't want you chasing rabbits. Just have these minimum things well done for you to grow your audience, to grow your influence, to grow your impact. You want a really well-written bio that reflects your expertise, differentiates you in the market, and shows a little bit more of why you do what you do and your credentials. To that point, you want to have a founder story. And what I mean by a founder story is why you do what you do. How did you get into coaching? Earlier, when we started this session, I asked you guys how many of you believe in coaching or were impacted by a coach. We had almost everybody say yes. I want that story out there for the public to read on a very simple one-page website. You don't need a 30-page website. You don't need a $25,000 website. You just need a super simple website where people can go to find out more about you. The reason I want you to have a website is because I don't want us to have to deal with the mood swings of Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn algorithms. I don't want a new boss in my life called Mr. Algorithm. I want us to be able to take control of where we put our stuff and who can find us whenever they want, right? At our own space and at their own pace. So a simple one-page website. It should absolutely have an intake form. No one should ever talk to you for free without you knowing who they are and what they want. I will say it a different way. No one should pick your brain for free. If you're a coach here and I find out that you just have an open 15-minute discovery call link on your website and all they have to do is leave a name and an email, I'm going to go Korean Uncle Mike on you and be like, take that down right now. Your time's too valuable. At least make them fill out some questions so that they have to work for it. Linda always says, Mike, you're going to find someone, you're going to meet someone. I'm sure you'll meet someone one day, any girl meet you. And then I told Linda, well, Linda, I just had 19 dates this past week. And she'll be like, how? I was like, well, whoever swiped on my dating profile, I just took him to dinner. She would slap me upside the head. She'd at least make him work for it. They don't need these free dinners. What are you doing? She'd just go Mama Linda on me, right? And be like, what are you doing? This is what you guys are doing if you don't have an intake form, okay? I'm going to send Linda after you. People should not talk to you for free without an intake form. Your job, if you're a coach, marketing-wise, is to go on OPP, other people's platforms. I probably wouldn't start with you starting your own podcast. If you're in the startup phase of business, and you need to get more experience or more clients, I don't want you distracted and starting a podcast. I want you to go on other people's podcasts because they already have audiences. And a handful of those people will come back to your one-page website after hearing you talk for 30 or 45 minutes on an interview. And if they like you, they'll fill out your intake form and you'll have all this data and information on why you should even be talking to this person. Can I get a yes, this sounds great? Yes, right? Okay, this is how you do it. Then eventually we want to find at least one marketing channel. We have to figure out what that marketing channel is depending on your coaching industry. If you're a fitness coach, you're probably not going to use LinkedIn. If you're a business coach, you're probably not going to use Pinterest. So we have to figure this all out. And then bonus, lead magnet to grow a list. A lead magnet means something that incentivizes people to get onto your email list so that you can communicate with them directly and not be subject to the algorithm. So if you're a coach, you're great at and you love doing coaching, this is what we need to focus on. And it doesn't need to take a long time. We can do this in a couple of weeks. All right, you guys ready for speaking? I'm going to go to speaking because so many of you said speaking as a thing. Some of this is going to overlap. A lot of this is going to overlap. Well, for a speaker, you need a bio and you need a founder story, like why you love speaking about this topic. But instead of a one-page website, you need a speaking page. You need a speaking website. And as a speaker, you need to have videos of you speaking and clearly delineate the topics that you speak on. You don't want people just to see a picture of you speak, like while you're speaking, and just say, invite me to speak to your event. You need to have video so people can see you present and the topics that you present on. Now, the good news is you guys can do this without having to pack out a room. You can just present. You can get a couple of friends, set up your iPhone, and just do a 5-minute speaking presentation. This is totally doable in today's day and age. Okay, so on that speaking page, you also want to have an intake form. Where is your event? How many people are there? What topic do you want me to present on? And you also want to make sure you're very clear about your speaking fees and your travel policies. All of this needs to be on an intake form. It's okay to speak for free, but I want you to operate as if you're being paid to speak. This is what helps you position yourself in the market and communicates a level of professionalism to the market. If you're a speaker, you should absolutely OPP it as well. Go on other people's platforms, preferably a podcast, so that people can hear you speak. And a bonus, if you're a speaker, is to have a book so people can purchase it at the back of the room when you're speaking, or go on Amazon, purchase it. If you're speaking and your books are nonfiction, you're training, you're teaching, and most of you are going to fall into this category. A bonus to generate even more revenue is to have a training series built off of your speaking and your book. So you see here, guys, this is slightly different than what a coach would do. But it's important that you understand how this works. You don't need, a $25,000 website and YouTube and TikTok and all of this stuff. You just need what's right on the page. And there is a lot of overlap between coaching and speaking. So that's really good. All right. I'm going to lump the next three under one umbrella: consulting, training, and facilitating. You'll see why. These are a little bit different. It's different than being a coach and a speaker. Consulting, training, and facilitating, the reason I lump all these together is they often take place behind closed doors. You're often hired by a company, a business, an organization to consult solely for them, or you're brought in behind closed doors, whether it's your own event or someone else's, to facilitate and train. You see me there speaking at a workshop. This was a closed event. So just give me a Y in the chat if I'm making sense. I just want to make sure we understand. The reason I put these together is because they typically happen in private settings. It's not open for the world to see, like a speaking engagement. So in your consulting, training, and facilitate, you want a bio, clearly, about what you consult, train, and facilitate on. In this scenario, you're going to need a short 2-page website. And on that website, you're going to have your bio, a preview of your intellectual property. And for many of you as Tiny Habits certified coaches, this should be on that website. This is what you did to earn that certification. You have a little snippet of Tiny Habits and the outcomes that you can help train, facilitate, consult on, whatever it is. You want to have that right there. And the second page on your site, I can just put it as B, is your pedigree page. A pedigree page is a password protected page that you give to serious prospects because they filled out, guess what, an intake form. And they have shown serious interest in you, and you give them a password protected page where they can look at some of the other projects that you have done behind closed doors. If you don't have that populated yet, it's okay. If we dig in together and I'm talking with you, strategizing with you one-on-one, I promise you I'll find something that we can put on that page. The reason I'm asking you to do this is because I want you to communicate discretion. The highest paying clients, the top of the market clients, they don't just pay for insight, knowledge, strategy, outcomes. They pay for discretion. This is why I think it's so ridiculous when I see someone on social media and they say, I just landed a $25,000 contract yesterday. And they are on Instagram the next day bragging about it. That's such an immature thing to do. So they have an intake form. You have at least one marketing channel. My hunch is going to be, if you're primarily doing consulting, training, facilitating, that should probably be LinkedIn. And a bonus is to have a book that codifies what you consult, train, and facilitate on that topic. Authoring a book, you need to have a bio as an author. You need to have a book page, a website for your book. That's exactly what you're looking at here on the right. It's called youarethebrandbook.com. Again, I want to control my own platform. I don't want to have to overly rely on Amazon or anything out there. But I also have an Amazon author page where all the books I write under my account are there, because Amazon's a great search engine. In this, you need to have a press kit with a book summary. You guys are seeing this right here. Here's a press kit. These are like questions that people can ask me on a podcast about my book without having to read my book. I have a lead magnet on this page just as an author that goes to my email list because I created a workbook to accompany my book. And that's a way for people to download things and get on my email list. Number six, obviously, OPP, other people's platforms. I'm going on other podcasts, speaking at events and stages to promote my book. Now, as an author, you do have to have one social media channel. Notice I said social media and not just marketing channel. I said social media because when people read your book and take pictures of it, you want them to be able to tag you. So Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook, whatever it is, have at least one social media channel. And a bonus, this goes both ways, any of the other streams of income, coaching, and you have a book, right? You're an author, you can coach or teach or train or facilitate or speak. And finally, content creator, you want to have a bio, why you do what you do, a lead magnet to your email list. Because if you're putting stuff on Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, you still need to get them back to your email list so that you can control that engagement. You probably want to have a community platform where people can reach you more directly. As a content creator, bad news, or maybe not, you have to be on as many social media platforms as possible. That's your job, to publish content. And it would help you to have an ads account so that you can boost some of that content. Okay, so I'm just going to run through that one really quickly. But to sum up everything we covered in the last 5 slides, these are all the things that you want to make sure that you're paying attention to. It looks like a lot, but it's really not if you know what you're great at and what you love doing. And I hope that I've been able to make some sense of all of this stuff that can potentially distract you, can get you chasing rabbits, right? Chasing shiny objects and not focusing on what really makes you profitable so that you can help more people and grow your business. I'm not talking about your skill as a coach. I'm talking about your awareness and skill and strategy around growing your business, around your practice. Okay? All right. I hope this was helpful. Quick question. Are you guys open to hearing about how you and I can work together? Would that be cool if I shared just for 5 minutes or so, and then I will open up the floor for some more questions? Okay, I'm going to make this super simple. What we're doing, and this is in conjunction with Linda, and this is just for you as a Tiny Habits certified coach. I am running a 6-week accelerator designed specifically to help Tiny Habits coaches set up and streamline the marketing side of their businesses. And my goal is to help you confidently promote your expertise, attract the right clients, and increase your impact by focusing on the right thing. And the reason that we're doing this, the why, is because I want this to be simple. I'm a big believer in simplicity over overwhelm. You guys already know the power of small steps, right? So we're going to take the same principles to marketing so that you focus on the right things without feeling overloaded. The good thing is, I already told you what the right things are based on what you're great at and what you love doing. We just have to take action on them. And I mentioned before, it doesn't need to take a year. We can do this really quickly. Working in a structured format, you'll see tangible progress in weeks rather than months or just never. So how we'll do this is you're going to have a personalized one-on-one call, either with me or one of my coaches, whoever you choose to work with. And I want to know what kind of coaching business you're growing. I'm going to give you an intake form so that I know what is going on in your business, and we'll hop on a call at some point during the 6 weeks so that I can help answer questions and clarify what your goals are. For 6 weeks, we'll do step-by-step work. We'll tackle a core marketing element. One of the things that you guys saw a lot there were bios, your messaging, your offers, how you're going to generate leads, and we'll build on progress steadily, Tiny Habits style. And after we're done with the 6 weeks and you get a little bit of a chance to breathe, we're going to do a reunion call, okay, as a group. And after the 6 weeks, we'll circle back. I want to look at what you're working on, how things are going, and just fine tune what we've built together. And we're going to start next Friday, April 11th at 1 p.m. Eastern, 12 p.m. Central, 11 a.m. Mountain, 10 a.m. Pacific. And I chose Friday because Monday through Thursday, a lot of you are seeing clients. There's a lot going on, and we're trying to give you a week and a half notice so that you're aware and can make some time in your schedule. So the calls are going to be 80 minutes. Elisa just asked, 80 minutes. The investment for all of this is going to be $750. This is the recap of everything going on. 6 week small group accelerators. We normally charge $1,500 per person for a 6 week accelerator. You get that one-on-one call with me or one of my coaches, whoever you choose to work with. I charge $1,500 an hour for that call. So you get that. You get lifetime access to the resources, workbooks, and templates, lifetime access to the replays, and of course, confidence and joy and alignment and clarity. That's what I really want you to experience. And I don't have this on the slide, but I'm only opening this up for 20 people. So it's first come, first serve. Registration closes this coming Monday. So it's not like you have to scramble right away if you want to think on it. Sonia asked, is it consecutive 6 weeks? Yes, it is. Okay, it's 6 consecutive weeks. Okay, Lisa asked, are the calls on Zoom? Yes, just like on this platform. One of my past students, Joseph, he's a digital ads specialist. He said, it's not only that it was just the best course, you taught complete and complex ideas in an extremely easy way. I got real results from the course. It is gold. I hope that I've been able to demonstrate that to you guys today here. John, thank you for joining. I'm super excited to work with you. This is Matt. And when I first met Matt, he had just been fired from his job. And I'm like, what do you want to do? He's like, I really want to help. I want to coach men on how to break their addiction to pornography. And I was like, wow. So I worked with Matt right in that startup phase. And I'm really proud of him. He built his website, just kind of what I was sharing before. He launched a podcast. Now, he did all of this sequentially, not all at once. A few years later, he wrote a book. But I want you to see this testimonial. This is what we did as soon as we started working together. I used the forms and templates to land my first clients. I wrote a 12-page ebook, priced it at $10. The book led to new coaching clients. Total return, $5,000. And this was when he started years ago. This is not a 5-page book that you guys see down here. He went full book. So he went from coaching, content creation, podcasting, right, into authoring. Let me answer a few more questions here. Sonia asked, are they recorded in case you're not available? Yes, you will always have lifetime access to the replays. Okay, always have access to the replays. You can see Matt's podcast here. Look at, you guys can't fake that. Look how many reviews he has on his podcast. Hundreds. 4.8 rating. This guy started right when he lost his job. So because that was an urgent situation, we were able to move quickly. This is really about you. You've invested in Tiny Habits. You have the world's premier framework on how to affect behavior change, on how to help people make real progress. And I'm here to help you, just to take you from this level and support your next breakthrough. You can sit and write your own sales copy and spend hours doing that, or creating offers, going back and forth, listening to too many YouTube videos, all these countless hours, wasting even more money, trying out different things here and there. If you have frustrations with fumbling through tech issues on how to set up some of this basic stuff, we're going to cover a lot of that. And I ultimately do not want you to be in the same place, not just next year, but in a few weeks from now. Spend those hours with me instead, with my team and I. We love helping people, and we want to help you and support you to your next breakthrough. Okay. All right. This is a big discount. Yes, Linda, thank you for shouting that out. Who has joined? I know John joined. Has anyone else joined here? Okay, Lisa, awesome. Excited to see you. All right. So I'm excited for those who are joining. Looking forward to meeting you guys in about a week and a half. I'm going to wind things down here. Linda, thank you so much for having me.
Well, thank you, Mike.
Yeah.
This is one of the requests as I've shared with you, I've gotten for years, that coaches want to learn how to build their business. And this is just such a great opportunity for them. I'm just excited.
Yeah. Well, and I don't even have some of the testimonials that we had from the folks that we did this last time with, right? Because I was just like, and these are Tiny Habits folks, but you're gonna see them. Well, they're already making some noise online in a good way, so that's really, really cool to see. So, all right, guys, I put that link one more time into the chat, and we will follow up. And again, we have until Monday to decide. Those of you who did join, look for an email coming from me first thing tomorrow because I'm going to put you to work to prepare. I want to have you fill out a form so I can get to know a little bit more about your business, and that way we'll hit the ground running when we talk. Then we'll get running next Friday, and we're going to see some good things happen in your business. Okay.
Hey,
All right,
Mike,
guys.
before you
Yeah.
log off, a quick question came into me. What if you've done this a year and a half ago, but still are working on some of these items? Is this still a good fit?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. Everything that we do is like, again, that success is sequential, not simultaneous. And it's fine tuning what you may have put work into. And to be able to get some different perspectives, get eyes on it from someone else, especially from people who do this all the time. You know, this is what I do. This is what I live, eat, and breathe day in and day out in my business. So I'm very confident that I can help you in all of this. And that's what we need. We need clarity. We don't need off the shelf solutions. Those things are good to learn some of the fundamentals and the basics, but in executing it and having someone understand exactly what you're doing and what you want to move towards and what you're optimizing for, this is really important. Yeah, so absolutely. Cool. Okay, guys, I'm going to wind this down. I'll do my best to get this replay out to you guys by tomorrow morning. All those links will be there, and hopefully, we'll see you inside the accelerator. Okay, Linda, thank you.
Thank you, Mike. Thanks for your help as always.
All right. Thank you all for joining the call and talk soon. Okay. Bye bye.